Listen to the Vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I'm very happy to welcome Emma Rowena here, and she is an author, musician, performer, intuitive reader, healer, meditation guide, and a social entrepreneur. Wow, that's quite a bit. And you're a mother.
Yes, very much so. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually one whole. It all works together. It's all about, to me, all about finding a way of expressing what I have to offer to the world. So whether it be through actually being present with somebody or presenting music that I do, or actually working at the higher level with somebody in a reading, it's all the same story in a way, but it's taken me a long time to come to the integration of this. I used to be just the musician, and then I started opening up to my abilities as a healer and reader, and then I focused a lot more on that. Being a mother has, of course, been part of the journey all along. My son is 17 now. And the book came from that again, from sharing my story of the journey from being confused and in fear to embracing all that I am and living it and choosing to live it and choosing to handle and meet life from all that I am. And this is what I want to share in my book and in the social entrepreneurship, which is around creating a center for young people to discover who they are, all that they are, and how they can express that in themselves. So it's taken me some time to accept that I have different facets that can work together when I run my life.
And you have some certifications?
Yeah, I have certifications for healing. Yes, absolutely. I followed a school here in Norway. Well, actually, I'm in France now, but in Norway, there was a school. They had a healing and intuitive reading, energy reading, that had official certifications, Norwegian, and then also the theta healing. I have a certification to not to teach, but to practice. And then I'm a trained musician. And I don't have a certification as an author, so that will be up to the audience when the book is out. It's about to be printed at the end of May, probably. The date will be set tomorrow. So that depends on whether people accept me as an author. So you can't just write a book and then send it out there. I've had people work with me, of course,
Right.
to develop it. So it's all about finding the expression. As a mother, well, I have the certification. My certification would be my son's, as a testimony is through my son, what he's grown up to become or becoming, his strengths, I would say. Not all my fault, but I do appreciate that I have been able to, I think, guide him and help him in a way that has helped him to navigate through some very, very difficult things in his life. Gracefully, and to manage to be true to himself.
Mm-hmm.
So in the sense that you can have certification as a parent, I know a lot of people have had, and this is what I talk a lot about in the book, actually, how you can develop yourself, heal yourself, find your own expression in order to help also your children to do the same. Rather than think you have to be perfect all the time, your involvement as a human being, your uplifting, your finding the light, if you like, will help your children. So this whole journey has been very, very important for me as a parent. And in that, also accepting that I make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about self-love, self-acceptance for who you are. And this is what I want to share with my son and the young people, both through the book and through other work, and parents, absolutely, and grown-ups.
And you had some personal difficulties in the beginning of motherhood.
Yeah, well, partly my relationship. it wasn't easy. Well, actually, I got pregnant quite quickly, and it was a bit of a surprise in a way. So it was a bumpy start. We stayed together for a while, but it was a bumpy relationship. We both had very, very sort of old issues of fear, of feeling neglected, feeling not worthy. So, and that when you go into a relationship not feeling worthy, and when both of you do that, it can become toxic because you start looking for that in the other person. And when none of you can actually do that, you start not destroying each other, but you do not necessarily support each other, I think. A lot of the time, anyway. We didn't. So it was quite a rough breakup. So my son experienced that. And then recently, a couple of years ago, his father had a severe stroke.
Oh, no.
Yes. And I found him and fortunately managed to save his life just because I happened to be there. And my son was there as well. So we had a couple of years then of trying to help him, well, first few months especially, of trying to help my son to trust that life is still safe for him. And he had panic attacks, and we tried everything. And the only person who managed to stop that was him. The moment I told him that I'm here for you, I don't know how to take this away from you, how to fix your head for you, because he was saying his head was messing things up for him. When I said that to him, that I love you and I'm there, and all I can do is hold you and be with you until you're ready to somehow let go of it, that moment he let go. He stopped. And from then on, it was about trying to take care of myself and him, and at the same time helping his father, because I was the only one who really could do that. And it taught me so many things. My son has taught me so many things about growth, about being true to yourself, about caring for each other, about being love. I mean, when you're a parent, a lot of parents have trouble embracing that love, that pure, unconditional love. Most parents want to do that for their children, but we have scars, we have wounds, and if we don't have that within ourselves, it can affect our relationship to our children. My son managed somehow, through him, I managed to accept that love and embrace it and open up to it. And that saved us, I think, through the whole processes. So, and still does. So we have a beautiful relationship. So yeah, we've been through some difficult things, the two of us, especially, well, three of us, but I won't say that I've handled it perfectly, but I will say that I have grown and I have risen to my own strengths and power and to my own higher wisdom, if you like. I've embraced a lot more of the intuition, of the ability to work with energies and meet people who are in the higher vibration, and to find ways through the darkness and the heaviness by remembering that we are more. We are greater. We have the ability to tap into something greater than what we think we are. And I think a lot of our pain comes from forgetting that. So remembering the beauty that we hold. And it's very interesting. You asked me before the interview, if it's all right that I say that if I wanted to offer a reading, I would be invited to do it. And as you said that, because I can't do a reading unless somebody invites me to do so.
Right.
And you said it was up to me. But what happens now as we speak, because you opened up to it, I can see that you're starting. And I'm sorry, we're going straight into a sort of a reading here. I hope you're all right.
That's okay.
I see that you're starting to remember somewhere in you, because you'll be, I don't know if the audience can see it, but the light, you're becoming a little bit lighter around you. You're starting to remember at some level that there's more to you. That's fine. You don't have to do anything or say anything. And as we speak of this now, I hope maybe this can help other people as well, to remember to simply try to have the intention of wondering, what is this that is more, this is greater, that is more beautiful about me, that I cannot remember? Where is it? Explore it. and wonder, how does it feel to be a soul, or to be have a higher awareness? How does it feel to be intuitive? And when you start asking those questions, and I talk about that in the book as well, when you start asking the questions, your curiosity becomes, you start practicing your curiosity muscle again, that all children have, obviously, and you will start to connect. And I might be, correct me if you can't feel it now, but it looks to me as if you're starting at some level now. I see it around your aura, that you're starting to somehow, your soul is saying, yes, please remember who you are. You and me, we're great. So there's beauty. There's a lot of beauty. You have a beautiful light.
Thank you.
Mm.
Well, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this up, because I have a difficulty with the whole self-loathing. And I read that you kind of had a bout with that. How do you get out of that mindset?
By try working with myself to remember who I am, and to connecting to, we talk about self-love a lot, we talk about the heart a lot, and it can be a lot of words.
Mhm.
When my ex left me, I went into the deepest, darkest self-loathing hole you could imagine, probably, and it was very, very close to giving up. And I don't really talk about that a lot, because it was in a way also a pivotal moment, because I realized, as I sat there thinking, there's nothing more for me to do, because I could not see my own value. I could not see that I had anywhere else to go. I still had my son, and still I couldn't see it. So I went into a black hole. And this is what people unfortunately do when you lose that sight of yourself. And I said, is this it? And then something in me said, no, you have more to do. And there is help there. Okay, let's go and start from there. And then I followed the training that I'd already started with the healing. And it was a big growth process. We touched upon a lot of mechanisms of victimhood, of patterns, of belief systems that we've taken on like a cobweb almost on ourselves. These are the images that are coming. And just so you know, as I speak of this, again, because you opened for it, the energy, I'm working with you on it. So if you don't mind. But the cobweb, we can learn techniques to release them. We can use our imagination. So if your self-loathing has a color, or you feel it somewhere in your body, you can work to imagine almost a conversation with it. You can imagine it starting to move. You can pretend that you can look at the self-loathing like an entity, like a ball. This is one technique, but it came up now. And you can start to want, where do you come from? What are you? Why are you here? What happened? Sometimes there are things that we don't want. You don't always have to go into the story to release it. But the one thing that, okay, the information that's coming is, the one thing that you can do is to honor it, in a way, to honor this mechanism in you, because it's a mechanism that you've taken on to survive, because somebody has told you in one way or another. Or actually, they're a whole community, it looks like a whole, not society or a family structure, that has told you that there is, you're doing things wrong just by being you. And so you've taken that on, and because they've told you, you're trying to be a people, you're trying to fit into this world. So you believe what they say, and you take it on as a belief system, as a truth that is you. It is not your truth at all. But the moment you honor the fact that you actually did this in order to survive and to try to become a person, you can try to start to bring it forward. I do it with my fear sometimes. I do it with my grief or anger. We all have these emotions all the time. My self-loathing isn't there anymore, because I've done a lot of work, partly this way, partly also by shifting my perspective. So I'll get back to that in a minute. But If you bring forward and you say, okay, this, you have followed me. I have had use of you because that was my way. That was all I knew to do. How can we now part our ways and so I can become myself again? So start communicating with the emotions, because rather than loathing yourself for having it or being afraid of them, but it's an emotion, it's an energy. Your self-loathing becomes a density, energy density in your system that you, and even dense energy moves. I just posted that as a quote from my book yesterday, actually. Dense energy moves, even that, if you allow it, if you dare to look at it, or even just have the intention of, okay, this energy isn't mine. The self-loathing isn't mine. Now, that's one aspect. The other aspect is practicing little things that take you out of it. Now, you should probably practice it when you're not in that space in the beginning. Practicing looking at good things. What makes you feel good? I think probably music would be an example for you, right?
Right.
Connecting to people, maybe learning from people, or a cup of coffee or tea, or embracing someone, or going out in nature, or driving a car or a motorbike or whatever. What makes you feel good, and bringing your attention to this and allowing yourself to feel good about it. That takes you a little bit out of yourself, so that you shift your perspective to practicing the habit of allowing yourself to feel good, allowing yourself to honor that feeling in you. And that's when you start connecting to your self-love, to your self-worth. So those are two sort of mechanisms that are possible to try. Another one is there are all kinds of techniques. You can repeat to yourself, you are worthy. You can put you are enough on the mirror, like Marissa Peer, a hypnotherapist, does. You can ask for help. You can imagine, you can follow meditations around the heart, but you can also imagine, okay, and this is one more thing that's showing up now for you, is imagining that you have a golden drop or a speck of light or something in your heart, a seed that is waiting to blossom, which will allow that light to fully embrace you, that is you, and allow you to connect to the beauty that you are. And if you imagine, because you have, this is the self-love, this is the beauty of our essence, we suppress it. And by doing so, we use a lot of power, because you are extremely powerful in your core. And so you're using a lot of energy, and the self-loathing becomes part of that energy of suppressing that power that you have in you to be naturally radiant. And this seed is really strong, but if you keep it under a lid, it's still there. It's never going to go away. It's always there. Now you just have to take that for a fact, whether you believe it or not. You just have to trust me on that, because this is what I see in my clients a lot. When we start working with them, there's always, it takes some time sometimes, but you have shown me, you're connecting, you're allowing me to connect to that in you now. Sometimes it takes time, but I always find that glimmer of light in the people I work with. And the reason they come to me is because there's something in them, their soul, their essence, some intuition saying, you're ready now to start to open up, to embrace it. Go there, or find that solution or that person that can help you to tap in. And the image that comes for you is that seed. And if there's a tree or a flower or something that you appreciate, imagine that job, the power of that tree or the flower. It has to break through soil, through stones, through old leaves, through other trees, through other branches to come out. And that's what we do when we start opening up to that growth. But it's a healing and it's a growth that we have to, at some point, choose, I think. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to choose. We stop ourselves. That's the self-loathing and the what should I say, destruction in a way that a lot of people have. But if you have started questioning or even opening up to the possibility that there's something better for you, and this is something a mentor, Christy Marie Sheldon, taught me through an online course she had. She said, your soul loves you so much that if you set the idea that you want to grow, you want to heal, you want to live a better life, the soul will go, yeah, great, I'll show you everything that's in your way so you can start to release it. So if you start opening up and you feel that you're getting one smack in the face after the other, it's actually, and that's something we have to try and just remember and trust, it's actually a possibility to, so that self-loathing is still not released completely. It's coming back, that mechanism. What did she say? Okay, things I like, what can I look at? Or, okay, I had to talk to it, or, so that we can use our techniques and our tools practically and use that's where we use our mind as our gift, as our tools, as our guide. We can use our mind to remember that there is a technique until we are able to embrace it as a natural part of ourselves. Do you understand that? So
Yes.
so that seed in your, okay, you're opening up to it now. So you're starting, because I see it's starting to radiate around it. So you're starting, something in you is starting to open you to the possibility that you can love yourself. And that's where that seed in the heart is self-love. It's the light that you are. It's a light that we all are, and we all have access to, because we are souls in manifested in a body. Yeah.
I
Any
guess,
questions? Any
well,
thoughts?
the biggest contribution to my self-loathing has always been guilt. And even when I start to feel good about myself, then I feel guilty about feeling good about myself. Part of the guilt is, my brother, my father, and one of my best friends all ended their lives. And
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
not so much my father or my buddy, but my brother. I really feel responsible for him ending his own life.
Mm.
And I've always felt like I don't belong in society, that I'm just an outcast, the oddball, and I just can't get to that point where I start feeling good about myself and it, sticking around.
Have you tried to communicate with your brother?
I've tried talking with him. I will
But
get little
with someone else?
signs. I get little signs here and there.
He's with you now. He's very much here. And the message that is coming very clearly is that, first of all, it's not your fault, which you intellectually know in a way, I think, at some level. But he is saying this was his path. And one of the things that he's urging you to try to grasp is that your path is different from his, and it's in a way you can honor him by showing that you can live a life in gratitude and love for being you. So, but you also want to do that for you. That's part of it's a little bit of a catch-22, because, and that's coming sort of not from him, but for if you do that in order to honor him, then you're not really being in your own self-love. So it's a little bit, but honoring that you are allowed, simply because you're here for a different reason than he was, and your father, and your best friend. You are here to shine your light in your way. And your brother he's free. He's where he is now, and he knows he left a lot of pain. They all do. They know they left a lot of pain, and that's maybe the one thing that is, if there's any shadow left in his, I'm talking about your brother now because he's the one who's most clearly here, also because I think you're more connected to him even than you realize. He is, the only shadow he still has left is the pain that he's left you and the people around you. But and I'll help you to release that a little bit, because that was it. We all have our paths, and yes, it affects other people. We hurt other people, but ultimately, it's up to us to choose our path, no matter where it goes. And in my experience, finishing a life is simply because it became too much to handle from a soul level. It sounds like a very sort of easy thing to say, but if you imagine that you are a free and unlimited soul, and you decide to come to this earth to experience life physically, sensing it, dealing with the emotions, all that drama, all the tension, and trying to release and trying to heal it. Sometimes, for some people, it's too hard, it's too much work. The contrast between what we experience here and the vibration of the natural soul is too intense. So they stop it, and then they can come back again. And you still have the beauty in you. You have a lot of light, and you can share that light. That can be your gift that is different from them. This pain can help other people to heal and to lighten up. And every time you feel good, you're helping the whole world, because your vibration shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you allow yourself to enjoy the music, to really enjoy it for you, and bring your brother in with you when you do, bring your father in, bring whoever you want to, of these souls, into that good feeling. See, I'm feeling good for us, for the love that we shared. Okay, there's a lot of healing going on here. There's a lot of energy. It's as if he's lighting up. His shadow's going a little bit away now from the pain. Yes, okay, let's do this together. So bring them with you in your joy. Honor them with your joy. Allow yourself to feel joyful, but with them, until you can be it just for yourself. But you can still bring them in anytime you want. So share the music with them. Their souls are with you. His soul especially, because he knows the pain. They recognize the pain. And there's an urgency. I've seen this before. There's an urgency in the people who have managed to let go and move on. There's an urgency to let us understand that it's all okay. It's all good. We are free. It's good. The energy, the love is beautiful. You don't have to deserve love. You are that. So connecting back into that is what they all sort of want us to remember. Oh, I forgot it when I was down there. I see it now. That's sort of the message I often get. And our message here, through the pain that we've been through, and through the stories, and through the daring to continue living it, we can find ways to lift it and bring that joy and remember it and bring it back into this life, and help more people around us to bring it, to shift the whole perspective of the world. I think also, and I write about this as well in the book, for one, that I want to help the young generation to experience these things. That's one of my big passions. Is that when enough of us dare to love ourselves and embrace the good feelings in ourselves, the good vibrations. Good vibrations are higher vibrations. They move faster also, but they help. They heal whatever you're close to. They heal yourself, your body, and they heal other people around you. And when enough people do that, something is going to start shifting in this world. We're still not there yet, but a lot more and more people are seeking this. And it's very, very clear to me that at some level, we're going to find that tipping point where the good vibrations are more plentiful. They're stronger than the density and the fear that has been riding our world for so long. And it's so prevalent now. So your pain doesn't really get very much help from what's going on around the world. Because when you're in guilt and pain, guilt is a very, very dense energy, that's something you also can bring forward and look at. Okay, I'm feeling guilty, and bring your brother in. Okay, my dear, what's your brother's name?
James.
James. Okay, James, I'm feeling this guilt. Can you help me to release it? Ask him for help. Ask him to send you healing. he accesses it much easier now where he is, or your father, and none of it is your fault. None of it. I know you think that there is a reason, but it was his choice always. And even though, like I said, I was sort of very much in the dark, almost giving up, but it was still my choice not to go there. At some level, I knew that this was a choice. Now, it doesn't mean that, there was somebody in my country who was very, very well known, who embraced the light, and he talked about the light a lot, and he decided to finish his life. And we were all devastated. But I remember somebody posting, what a terrible thing to do. He had 3 children. What a selfish thing to do. Now, this person was unable to think of anyone else. He chose.
Right.
He chose freedom for himself. And I think also so it's not your fault, because you cannot do anything so bad to anybody that they will finish their life. It's in them. It's demons in them that they haven't been able to. It's been too hard, the contrast between who they truly are and the physical human experience. This time around, it's been too tough for them. You have a beautiful strength in you. Bring your loved ones with you, for whether they're there or where they are, and enjoy those things that you like with them. Share it in your mind. That would be sort of the message and the thoughts that came through here. Yeah. I don't know if that helped, but
It actually did. Hey, you talked about being a theta practitioner. What is that?
Theta healing is Diana Stibal. She developed this technique. It's a way of going into the theta vibration, which is where you are sort of between waking and sleeping, and when you tap into the higher perspective, the divine visions, and that's when you can do the energy reading, and you can actually also see stories, see images that relate to a person's life. I use a mixture. The other healing and reading that I do is very, very much related to it. But the theta healing is a more active technique where I ask the client questions and ask them to go with me on the journey. It takes a lot longer in a way, because it's a way of helping the client to feel and sense a little bit also what's true for them. And then I work with helping to shift the energy, to release the old, and to bring in new healing energies instead, new belief systems. So it's just another technique. It can be very efficient for healing both the body, physical things, pains, and also emotions. I tend to maybe prefer working a little bit more the way I did now, with the reading, where I simply go in, I tune in. It's the same way, but it's a different way of approaching that sphere. And what happens is when I go into the reading space, I step out of myself a little bit, and I lift my perspective. So I see images that are of a higher vibration. I see the images of the soul. We call it a soul-to-soul communication. And the symbolism, the images that come, they always carry information, and I can start shifting and working with the energies. I can still ask questions and wonder, and the client can comment or ask for specific things. But usually what's become more and more prevalent is that a lot of people who come to me now, they are looking for exactly that heart space, to open up that, and that I find heals a lot. It's the and there's a Anita Morjani. She's a quite known survival. She died from cancer, and she came back, and she was healed within 4 weeks, I think. she was gone, I think, half an hour or something, but at that half an hour, she saw it all. It was this love, this unconditional love. That's the healing.
Yeah.
And that's that seed there. And that's where allowing yourself to feel good and bringing in, if you feel guilty, okay, here, listen, because your brother is there, your father, if you call your father in, if that's what feels right to you, he will come, the energy, they can connect.
And your dream is to open a center for helping children to heal?
Yeah, but children and young people to heal, but maybe, and I wouldn't do this kind of work with them. That would be more helping them through collaboration with professionals for work with children in discovering, listening to their voice, to their visions and dreams, to their natural inclinations and talents and passions and expressions through music and art, and through collaboration and play, and through stillness and connecting to nature, so that they are given a space to actually honor what feels, again, good to them, and allow that to be their guiding light. And that's why I would also have to bring in parents, because they need their support system to be with them after they've come to. So my vision is to open a center here in France, which is one of the reasons I'm here, in a beautiful space that I haven't quite found yet, except in my vision. And also with an online extension of it, where we work through music and art, especially bringing forward their songs, their heritage, their lullabies, whatever it was that makes them feel at home in themselves in a good way, and bring that forward together with professional artists and musicians, and share it and let them find their place and their voice. That's my passion, my big passion.
It's speaking of heritage, you have kind of a multicultural background. Do you feel like that has been a big contributing factor to why you do what you do?
Absolutely, I think, in the sense that it has allowed me to see things from different perspectives, and to understand that we are different and we have different values, we have different stories that we bring with us based on the cultures and the country or whatever it is. I was very confused in the young years. I did not like being Norwegian. I wanted to be British. I lived in Norway. I felt left out. I was left out in school, and I had a troublesome childhood with an alcoholic father, and there was a divorce there. It was painful, very traumatic. And I was not, I felt very much alone. But whenever I left Norway, whenever I went to the UK and visited my family there, or when we lived in Cuba when I was little, and then in California when I was in my teens, suddenly the world opened up and I could be part of something. So only since, well, the last 20 years, I would say, but especially since my son came, did I actually embrace also being Norwegian and loving that heritage as well. That was a long journey, but it was part of my healing journey to come there, to embrace all that I am. And there's so many beautiful aspects to the Norwegian culture. It's a little bit closed. It's a little bit sort of, you shouldn't step out too much and shouldn't show yourself too much. Not even a little bit. There's quite a lot of that. But there are some fantastic qualities to that culture as well. So embracing, and that includes, that's, as you say that now, as you ask that, and what we started initially with all the aspects that I put on what I am, embracing the wholeness has become part of my healing and the self-love. So it has allowed me to be who I am, essentially.
Being, so many different parts of your background, it, it's hard to focus on should I embrace this culture more, or should I embrace this culture more? That's kind of where my confusion sets in, because I have Cherokee on both sides of the family. I believe Norwegian in our family,
Right. Yeah.
British as well, and I want to say we have Irish and so on and so forth. And, I will start kind of studying one culture, and then I'll get into another. And basically, I don't know nothing about any of it.
No. And that's really, and what I'm seeing in that is a little bit, it has to do with, because these cultures, and that was in my case anyway, and what I sort of sense in what you're saying is it becomes structures that you're trying to place yourself in,
Right.
but you are your culture. When you start coming closer to your essence, to who you are, and starting to dare to embrace the things that you enjoy and love in your life, and to open up gently and slowly, and sometimes you will fail. That's just something you're gonna have to accept, I'm afraid. We do fail, but the more you manage to give yourself a moment of enjoyment and including that as part of your journey, the more you will be able to handle the obstacles, and the closer you will get to yourself, and the culture becomes an integrated part of you, I think, so that you can embrace those things of your culture that you at that moment feel normal and natural and beautiful with. And maybe that's an aspect. You have all the aspects in you. You have a beautiful kaleidoscope, if you like. Yeah, it's like, so embracing all our colors. Even when you're from one culture, there's always several subcultures or groups of people that you relate to or stories that you have, and it builds up your human manifestation of your soul, I would say. So is a beautiful collaboration or a picture of all of the stories. So yes, I used to do, I think I had to be either or I used to think that I didn't fit in anywhere. And now, usually I can fit in anywhere I choose, but I also have learned that I can choose. I can choose at any time. I don't always manage to do it. Sometimes I find myself in places I don't really want to be, but I can choose what I know is good for me, what kind of a place it's good for me to be, for instance, or what kind of people are good for me to be with. And I can choose to embrace that because I've learned that I'm allowed to feel good, but I've also learned what actually does feel good for me. I had no idea because I was listening to what everybody else told me that I should think and know, and
Yeah.
and yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit of a muscle that you need to practice. And if you dare to and try to at least tell yourself that you are allowed the good feelings as well as the pain. And if you need to bring in the memory or the soul of the people you've lost into that to help you, do so. And you have some powerful connection to nature that I think maybe you can access a little bit more if you try, or if you want to, if you choose to.
Yeah.
Feels
That's
like.
that's my favorite place to be, especially
Very,
by the water.
yeah, exactly. Oh, water is very healing and soothing. That's one thing you can allow yourself to and enjoy that. And this goes to every one of your listeners. If we could all allow ourselves to feel good and to be kind to ourselves, it would be a different place entirely if everybody did that. So for anybody who dares to even have a moment of that more than you used to, I applaud you. It's a big step. Mm.
And what's the name of your book that's coming out?
You, me, and all that we are.
I, well, I'll have to go back and put the link in later since as the time of this recording, it hasn't come out yet, but I will go back and put it in the description.
Thank you.
And do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website. It's Emma Rowena with a W.no. And there is a page for my book there where you can sign up and you'll get a free chapter once it's very soon. And then all the information about how to order it. So it will come within a few days now, all the information that we're sort of finalizing I'm doing the last read through tomorrow and sending it in for print. So
Wow.
exciting.
And what I bet. And what is your social media?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So it's all on my website, actually. It's maybe easier than to say all the different little details of but my YouTube, I have quite a few meditations and talks about sort of topics like this. So that's Emma Rowena 6136, I think. Facebook, Emma Rowena Hansen. And Instagram, Emma Rowena, I think, or Emma Rowena Hansen, I can't remember. And LinkedIn, yes.
Well, as I said, I will put all the links in the description just to make it easier for folks.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And Emma, I want to thank you for coming on the show. This was really exciting for me.
It was very, very exciting for me too. Very interesting. Thank you for trusting me and for opening up for this opportunity to connect in this way.
Thank you. And also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button from our regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. And until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network